is time for the divisional round in the NFL playoffs here on Pickswise Playbook. I am your host, Chris Rose, joined as always by Jared Smith and our former resident offensive lineman of NFL fame, Ross Tucker, who I believe has thawed out from his time in Buffalo. Have you?
I am thawed out from Buffalo because right after I was in Buffalo, I went out to Los Angeles where you would not meet up with me for breakfast.
Do I at least get a chance to explain or no?
You can if you want. I'll just say this, by the way. I understand why people live out there.
Yeah.
Like when you do a game in Buffalo and then you fly out to Los Angeles, it was snowing in Philadelphia as I was flying out. I landed in Los Angeles. It was nice. The thing about nice weather is it's nice.
It is nice. It is. You put a smile on your face every day when it's 70 degrees and you open the door and you go for your morning walk. The reason I was not able to see you was because my son, who's in town working, it was his only day off during this 30-day work stint. And so he wanted to watch the Cavs in the afternoon with me. And his girlfriend was in town, and so we all had brunch together. And believe me, I love you, Ross. I've known you for a long time, but I'll take hanging out with my son any day.
Of course, you're making me feel old that your son is that old that he has a job and a girlfriend.
Yeah, well, I am. Believe me, I'm a lot older than I look. That's what Los Angeles does for you. Around here, it's you get all the filler and all the Botox put in. It's like when you go to a yogurt shop and the 10th one's free, they keep clipping those things off.
Sideline for Rams and Cardinals. I noticed that by the ladies in the ground level suites where you can't actually see the field. There's a lot of those people. By the way, how much money are they spending to not actually be able to see the field? I mean, you want to talk about someday someone's going to come up with a location in the stadium where you literally cannot even see the action a little bit, and you're still paying to be in the facility.
It's at Barclays Center for hockey games. They used to there was a spot where you couldn't see the ice. That was bad.
All right, guys, let's get to it. We're here to make your Saturday and Sunday of Divisional Round weekend very, very enjoyable, and not just because the action will be great on the field. So, Jared, tell people a little bit how they can get involved this weekend.
Yeah, of course. We're going to do our standard giveaway on YouTube. You have to comment with your number one best bet. And Pickswise is going to randomly select a subscribing commenter. Of course, we've been through this before, guys. You have to be a YouTube subscriber. If your best bet wins, we're going to send you $100. We're going to pick one of those best bet winners, and you're going to get a free 100 bones. Of course, you have to be a Pickswise YouTube subscriber. You have to comment by 12:30 Eastern time on Saturday before the games start to be eligible. We're also doing an anytime touchdown giveaway Saturday and Sunday. We're going to give away $50 to a lucky Pickswise Twitter follower. If myself or Ross picks a successful touchdown score, by the way, we did pick one for the games over the weekend, and we're going to give away another free $50. We're going to do one giveaway on Saturday, one giveaway on Sunday. You have to retweet, and you have to follow Pickswise, and you're going to have a chance to win some free cash. Also, of course, download the Pickswise app. It's available on the Apple Store or Google Play. Tons of betting insights, not only for the NFL, also college hoops, hockey. I saw some horse racing picks on there today. And, of course, we're also available in podcast form. Wherever you get your podcast, be sure to listen to the Pickswise Playbook.
You deserve an A+ for that and a raise, but you can't have any of our money.
That's okay.
So
let's take the books money this week, right?
Only 4 games this weekend. Let's get to it. And we start off with the first one on Saturday late afternoon. The 1 seed, the Tennessee Titans, will play host to Joe Burrow, and those hard-charging Cincinnati Bengals, who held on for dear life against the Las Vegas Raiders, but turned them away at the end for their first playoff win in 31 years. Who did they beat 31 years ago? That would be the Houston Oilers, the old Tennessee Titans, if you will. It's the first and only time these franchises have ever met when it really, really counts.
So I love that, Chris, but that should have been asked in trivia question form.
No.
Because that's you know what I'm excited about? I'm excited about you asking trivia questions on this show and what the press box food will be in Tampa Bay, because I'm going to be there for the Bucs and the Rams. Those are the things that excite me. So don't let me down again by not asking trivia questions.
No, I think I've got one for each game. So you just hold your horses there, Ross Tucker.
Love it.
False start. Tucker, 5 yards.
It's not the first time he's heard that one. Wait till we get holding during the Rams.
Oh,
You know what?
no,
Thank
no more
goodness when I
holdings.
was in college, they still didn't say the number.
Oh,
Now they say the number for the guy in college.
And they zoom in on the guy too. They show
in
the
college,
humiliation
in college,
shot.
like, I'd get a
afterward.
personal foul, and I'd be like,
Kyle Brandt did it, guys. It was him.
yeah.
All right, Jared, what do we have on this one?
Yeah, this is, I'll be honest, the Titans are a tough team to handicap this year when you look at the numbers, because the numbers are kind of misleading. They played so many games without so many of their key players. I think the rest is huge here. So the Titans now have had 2 bye weeks since week 13. They had the regular bye week, and then they had the bye week that they just enjoyed. Meanwhile, the Bengals haven't had a bye since week 10. And, technically this is week 20. So it's been 10 consecutive weeks of games for Cincinnati. I know they had a game late in the year where they rested some starters. So that's kind of like a bye week. But you can see a pretty big difference here with the Titans numbers when they've had just A.J. Brown. They were 16th in offensive DVOA. With A.J. Brown and Julio Jones in the lineup, it jumps to 8th. And the running numbers actually are pretty similar this year with and without Henry. Obviously a slight increase with Henry, but not significant. I think the receiving impact of having Brown and Julio Jones on the field at the same time, that's the big impact for me. And when I look at the Bengals, just the defensive line issues for Cincinnati, how are they going to stop this Titans offense? Hendrickson concussion, Daniels questionable, Ojagbo out. They have a ton.
Sorry, Ogunjobi.
Ogunjobi, I apologize. Thank you
You
for that.
put the emphasis on the wrong syllable there.
Ogunjobi out. That is a huge loss for them inside because he's been big in pass rush as well. And I'm concerned about this Bengals front holding up against what's a very physical Titans offensive line. The Titans defense has been fantastic too since the bye. They've only allowed 11.6 points per game, 3rd in EPA per play, 4th in dropback success rate. Can Joe Burrow do enough to overcome what I think is going to be a very successful Titans offense against a banged up Bengals defense? To me, this is a Titans play. We've seen the line move now, gone from 2.5 to 3, now 3.5. I expect this to close at 4. Obviously, less value at 4. If you can find a 3.5, it's worth the unit. I got in 2 units at 3, and that's probably where I feel comfortable, with the big unit play. Probably still worth the unit, though, at 3.5.
So I never lay 3.5. At this stage of the week, never, because if you lay 3.5 now and it comes down to 3, you're going to want to, you're going to be very, very angry.
I don't think it gets that back to 3. I just, because the Bengals injuries on defense, I think are 2. I think this line closes at 4, actually, to be honest with you.
Right. But my point is, if it goes up to 4, there's not that much difference between 3.5 and 4.
Little bit.
There's a huge difference.
Not a huge difference.
Between 3.5 and 3, in my mind. I call that asymmetric risk. Plus,
whoa.
Yeah. Look
That's
it
a
up.
double
There you
drink.
go. Take a drink. So I just don't like laying 3.5 because what do they tell you? Well, we think these teams are somewhat evenly matched, but we'll give this team a field goal and then some. Don't love it. That said, I think the Titans are the right side. I thought Jared did a good job of laying out a bunch of the reasons why. The one thing I will say about the whole bye week thing is they basically got a bye week 18 against Chris's Brown. They didn't play their guys week 18. The Larry Ogunjobi injury is huge. We'll see about Hendrickson in the concussion protocol. But I have a theme for Saturday, and the theme is well-rested teams against teams I think are a little bit beat up and might be losing steam, especially in the case of the Niners. But for this matchup, I could only look to Tennessee right now. I love Joe Burrow and what the Bengals have done, but they still had a heck of a time against the Raiders. And
They got outgained.
I really like Vrabel over Zach Taylor as the coach in this matchup. And I think the D-line for the Titans is going to devour the Bengals O-line. I think Burrow is going to get bruised and battered. It's going to be an ugly one. I'll take the Titans.
Let's keep in mind, these were the 2 most sacked quarterbacks in the NFL this year. Burrow had the most, 51. Tannehill followed closely. You make that great point, Ross, about the Tennessee defensive line. It's amazing because I don't know how Jeffrey Simmons didn't get in the Pro Bowl. He must be hated by offensive linemen because that guy is dominant. They had 3 guys with at least 8 sacks. They were the only team in the league that had that. They can get after you. Burrow holds the ball too long. He's got a little bit of Andrew Luck in him. That kind of scares me if I'm a Bengals fan. Man. And by the way, the franchise has never won a road playoff game. They're 0-7. Does that matter to you, Ross? Because it's all about history and, none of these
Not
guys.
at all. No.
Okay.
In fact, any stat like that is incredibly irrelevant. Like, and when I study these games for the notes for when I'm going to call a game, they always talk about like the series history and like none of that has anything to do in my mind with what's going to happen on Saturday at 4:30 Eastern.
I've got one stat that you might be interested in then. How about quarterbacks making their first ever road playoff start? 6-15 straight up, 9-12 against the number. I know Burrow just played in his first ever playoff game at home, played okay. Going on the road in the playoffs for the first time, bit of a different animal.
9-12 against the number actually sounds pretty good to me. First road playoff start ever, 9-12 against number.
But 6-15 straight up with a spread of 3.5, maybe 4. Going to be hard for, I think, the Bengals to cover and not win, I think.
All right. A couple things here. Ryan Tannehill, he's had a lot of playoff games. He's 2-2. He averages about 133 passing yards per game, so it's not a huge number. Jared, what do you expect to see out of him this weekend through the air?
Yeah, and he's had some rough games on the road. Actually, I was looking at his road stats. He's only played.
He's at home.
Tannehill. I'm sorry, I thought you said Joe Burrow. I apologize. Tannehill's 226.5. I like Tannehill over in this game, and I'll tell you why. So I think Derrick Henry is not going to have a huge impact. We're all talking about him coming back. I don't think he's going to have a huge, carry workload. But what I think will happen is his presence will open up things for Ryan Tannehill in the play action game, especially over the middle. Guys like Westbrook-Ikhine, the tight ends for the Titans, because you've got to still account on the outside for Jones and Brown, and you've got to still put guys in the box to not only shore up your inefficiency up front because they're thin on the defensive line, but you've also got to, protect against a possible Derrick Henry battering ram. And I think the middle is going to be wide open for this Titans passing offense. So I think Tannehill is going to have a pretty good game.
By the way, Derrick Henry went through a padded practice earlier this week. He came out and he said, I don't know about my availability. I'll let you know on Saturday. So it could come all the way up to the inactive time, 90 minutes before the game. Jamar Chase, Ross Tucker, had a huge game against the Raiders, set a Bengals rookie playoff single game record in terms of yardage. Do you expect the same?
Yeah, I think he'll go over his prop number of 85.6 receiving yards. I don't really think the Bengals have much of a chance if he doesn't. His chemistry with Burrow is incredible. Something that I think maybe was almost undervalued during the pre-draft process is just how valuable that is, that he could hit the ground running because of his rapport with Burrow. And, last week people were like, the Raiders are going to try to take away, Chase. So it's going to be a big game for Higgins or no. That's not what the Bengals do. Like, they throw the ball to Chase and he makes plays. I think the Bengals are going to lose the game, which means they're going to have to be coming from behind. That just adds to Chase's ability to get receiving yards. I'll go over 85.6, not 85.5. It's 85.6 receiving yards.
Okay, now I'll let you have your bite at the Joe Burrow apple, Jared.
I was so excited to talk about Joe Burrow's passing yards prop. I jumped the gun a little bit. That's a false start on Jared Smith there. So Burrow's road numbers haven't been great, and he hasn't played a road game since Thanksgiving. How about that? And 3 of his 4 lowest yards per attempt games this season have come on the road. So the numbers don't favor him to have a good passing game on the road, but I think the game script will dictate he's going to have to throw it. And I think that's probably why 286.5 is probably about right, but I would lean to the over based on game script. But I think efficiency-wise, I do not expect Joe Burrow to be at peak in this game.
All right. There will be some touchdowns scored. Ross Tucker, give me some TDs.
Yeah. I'm going to go. There's a bunch of guys I could go with. I think I'm going to go with T. Higgins at plus 195. Big body. I think there's some value there. It seems like that's a guy that Burrow trusts down near the red area as well. I know there's probably a better chance of Jamar Chase, but I like the value of T. Higgins at plus 195. Even CJ Uzoma is interesting at 240 to me, but I'll go T. Higgins plus 195.
Yeah, it was almost my guy. I agree, Ross. I don't think Chase is as much as explosive as he is. And he can break anything. I do think they are going to take him away in the red zone. They are going to make Joe Burrow in the red zone at least go somewhere else. So I think Uzoma's been I would say one of the most consistent weapons this year in the red zone. So I think that's a good number too at plus 240.
Okay. For the Titans, I want to give everyone a really good number that I feel really good about. Ryan Tannehill plus 310.
Love it.
Plus 310 Ryan Tannehill. You get to the playoffs, these quarterbacks sell out. Tannehill is a sneaky good athlete. Did you know he played wide receiver at Texas A&M? You probably didn't know that. You probably never heard that before. Tannehill, touchdown, plus 310.
I'll give you another off the beaten path one, and we talked about it a little bit, because of Tannehill's ability to find the play action game over the middle, and it's Nick Westbrook-Akina. He's had a really strong year. He is going to be the forgotten man of these three wide receiver sets. Obviously, Julio Jones and A.J. Brown are going to take up a lot of the lion's share of the attention of this Bengals secondary, but I think Akina over the middle in the slot in that three wide receiver look is going to be effective. And I think he has a big game yards prop wise, but I think for plus 250, his touchdown prop is certainly worth a sprinkle as well.
All right, before we move on, Ross, open your ears. Trivia time. Yes. Derrick Henry, hopefully he will play for the Tennessee Titans. He is second in the playoffs in rushing yards per game. That's it with guys who played at least 5 playoff games. 111 yards per game. Who is first all-time in rushing yards per playoff game?
Oh, all-time, not that are playing this year.
Correct.
Okay. All-time rushing
Jared,
yards
you saw this
per
guy
game.
play too.
I did see him play. Okay, that helps.
I'm going to go Emmitt Smith.
No.
Okay.
Jared, quickly.
Adrian Peterson? Probably not, right? It's not a great
Hints,
guess.
Chris, hints. Don't tell us hints.
Yeah, give me a hint.
He was very happy with the college football outcome.
Herschel Walker?
So that means he's
Herschel Walker? No.
Garrison Hurst.
It's a great guess, but it's not right.
Terrell Davis. I'm a
Taylor?
moron. Terrell Davis.
Oh, Terrell Davis.
Right.
That's going to bother me the rest of the show. He went on epic playoff runs.
Yeah, he did.
I am a moron. Why does Pickswise even pay me to do this show?
I don't know.
Clip that, Jack.
So
Clip that little.
Terrell Davis. I am so annoyed at myself.
Wow. I've never seen Ross get so hard on himself.
Horrible.
He's had 0 for weeks with his picks, and he doesn't even get this hard on himself.
Oh, my gosh.
Ross, what time's your therapy appointment this week? I
don't know, but I need it. I'm so mad. I love your trivia questions. I love getting them right. Obviously,
Ross
Terrell
is on
Davis.
tilt.
He killed it in the playoffs.
Hey, get up, walk away from the table. You'll be fine in a second. Can we move on to the nightcap on Saturday, guys?
Sure.
It's the 1 versus 6 matchup. The Green Bay Packers, they've been resting their guys, just stretching, getting healthy. In the meantime, the Niners are sweating it out, saying, wait, Dak just ran a quarterback draw with no timeouts left in 14 seconds. This is great. Now, Ross, you did mention about them being banged up. We don't know about Nick Bosa. Heck, we don't even know about Jimmy Garoppolo. You know, he's got the chip thumb.
He's playing. I know he's banged up, but he's playing. Fred Warner, I think, will probably try to give it a go as well. But guys that finished the game before, 99% they play the next game. Garoppolo's playing.
Agreed.
By the way, how about Garoppolo throwing that terrible interception? The only thing he couldn't do in that situation to lose the game, potentially. And then I don't know why Kyle Shanahan had him motion Trent Williams on the 4th and an inch. But Garoppolo, had premature esnapulation, okay, on that quarterback sneak and Jimmy had two really bad moments in the last 5 minutes or whatever of that game. And that's kind of who he is, I think, unfortunately, which is why, with the line right now, I got the Packers when they were laying 5.5. Right now, it's back up to 6. I honestly, earlier in the week, I was thinking Niners. I was thinking they've got the Packers number. They can run the rock, for whatever reason, whether it's regular season or postseason. It seems like Shanahan and his staff have a leg up on LaFleur and his staff. But the more I thought about it, the Niners expended every ounce of energy to make the playoffs, beating the Rams on the come-from-behind win. Every ounce of energy last week against the Cowboys. Now it's a short week at freezing Lambeau. They're all beat up. Ultimately, I think that the Niners run out of steam. And I think that Aaron Rodgers and his receivers, in particular Devontae Adams, I think that the corners for the Niners can be had. And unlike the Cowboys, I think Aaron Rodgers and the Packers will have them. The Niners train runs out of steam. I will lay the points with the Green Bay Packers. And you guys know probably the most points I've laid on this show the whole year. But that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, this game was a 3.5-point spread. The Niners were favored back in week 3. And Green Bay won that game 30-28. So we've seen a 10-point adjustment now from -3.5 San Francisco to now -6 Green Bay. Obviously, the Packers being at home and, the Lambeau Field edge, that the home field isn't weighted as much as it used to be. But I think at Lambeau, it certainly is, especially in a night game in January in the playoffs. And I think the Jimmy G injury scares me. And I think that's why you've seen this line, nestle up to 6. And I wouldn't be shocked if it creeped higher throughout the week. And I think he's going to play, but how effective do you think he's going to be? He had perfect conditions at, Jerry's World, despite the sun glaring through for a few minutes there. But, the ideal conditions in that stadium, and now you go to outdoors and freezing cold weather, the shoulder might tighten up.
Second. You guys make it sound like Jimmy G throws the ball 35 times a game. Do you know that when the Niners beat the Packers in the NFC title game a few years ago, how many times did he throw the ball that day?
I don't think many.
I 10? Was there. It was was it 8?
He was 6 of 8, Ross.
Yes! That counts.
Not a trivia question. Does not count. That's not a trivia question.
Yes, it was.
That's a very
fair question, and I answered it correctly.
But that's not a trivia. I announced the trivia. In fact, we're going to start putting bells and whistles. Jack, you do that in post for the trivia. Put a big banner, nice little animation, Rose's trivia time, whatever.
I'm 1 for 2 so far.
You're 0 for 1. Thank you. Duly noted. The point is, I didn't mean to derail your thought here, Jared.
No, you're good.
Guys act like he's Mahomes.
I agree with that. I agree. But
and by the way, part of that was on Shanahan last week to put Jimmy Garoppolo in that sort of position, because when you put Jimmy Garoppolo in that sort of position to throw an interception, he's going to do it. He's going to throw the interception. So if Kyle Shanahan does not make that mistake this week, I think the Niners can win this thing.
I agree. I think the thing that needs to happen, though, is they have to get out to an early lead and they have to establish the run.
Yes.
They did that last week. Will they be able to do that this week? I don't know, because I think I'm not betting this game. I have a futures action on the Niners to win the NFC at 15-1. I have futures action on the Packers to win the NFC and the Super Bowl. We discussed, Ross and I last week both like the Packers to win the Super Bowl. I just think the game plan is so obvious that if the Niners can run the ball this week, when it's so obvious that not only Jimmy G can't throw it, but the best way to beat this Packers defense, they're 4th in explosive pass rate, 28th in explosive run rate. They give up big runs. They gave up 8.7 yards per carry to, Chris's Browns a few weeks ago. They can be beaten on the ground. But if everybody knows that, if I know it, if you know it, to me, that's how the Packers will scheme this game. How effective will that scheme be? I don't know. They are getting some guys back defensively. That should help, but we don't know how fresh and how effective those guys will be. Alexander and Smith, certainly the names to keep an eye on this week in the Packers practice reports. But I agree with Ross that I think that this is just a team that might be running out of gas. And I don't care if Jimmy G throws it 0 times in the game or has a Mac Jones 2-for-3 game like he did against Buffalo. I just don't see the Niners being able to generate enough offense to keep up with what is a very effective, potent, efficient Packers offense that has had 2 weeks off. Aaron Rodgers' toe should be as healthy as it's been. And I worry about, the Niners' defensive front, especially if Bosa's a little bit balky and if Warner's not 100%. Jimmy G might have to throw in this game, and that's where the issues come in.
And by the way, even if, he's got a high probability of making a big mistake late. He does that a lot.
Yes. There's no question. Well, here's my point, though, also. The Packers, they're in a crappy division, guys. They just are. Sure. They haven't had what I would call a huge win since November 28th. Now, we have talked about this before. You can't blame them for other teams' deficiencies down the stretch, whether it's Baltimore or Cleveland or Minnesota, teams that we expected to maybe be in this tournament in January, and they didn't make it. But they haven't had what I would like to call an uber impressive win since November, and that came in a home game against the Rams. In that time, the Niners have had impressive wins at Cincinnati, at the Rams, at Dallas. That's pretty good.
It's been an unbelievable second half. The Niners lead the NFL since week 9 in net yards per play. And we talked about how important that category was last week. The leader in that category last year, the Bucs won the Super Bowl. The Bills led the NFL in that category this year. And look what they just did to the Patriots. Net yards per play matters, and the Niners are as efficient as anyone in that category. I do think if you want to give an edge to the Niners passing offense, look to George Kittle. The Packers are 25th in success rate allowed to tight ends this year, 32nd in the red zone. Kittle's been kind of forgotten the last few weeks because of the running game. This could be a spot for him to maybe emerge, but I just don't trust Jimmy G in a close game on the road. And this game's going to be close. They're not going to have a 2-score lead like they had against the Cowboys, and then Jimmy G barely hung on for his life. I feel like the game script will favor Green Bay here, and then Jimmy G will be forced to throw, and that's where the issues come about.
Let's just remember one other thing before we move on. Week 3, who drove the Niners the length of the field to give them the lead late with 2.5 minutes to go? Jimmy Garoppolo did, and then they left, less than 40 seconds for Rodgers. And
I was going to say, what happened after that? I can't remember.
All I'm saying is that we're all ripping on Jimmy G and saying this. He did put the team in the position to win the game.
He was fantastic in the second half against the Rams a couple weeks ago, too.
Listen, we all know his deficiencies, and his coach knows his deficiencies. We learned that the last time they made a Super Bowl.
You know what? I'm not sure he does. I thought they threw the ball way more than they needed to last week against the Cowboys.
But that's
they couldn't stop them running the ball. They would get 6 yards on first down, and Kyle would call a bootleg on second, a sprint out on third, incomplete field goal or punt. I don't know that he does know his limitations as much as he
does. But you know that is Kyle Shanahan's MO. Go back to Super Bowl 51. Where all they needed to do was run the ball and go kick a field goal, and the Atlanta Falcons are hoisting their first Lombardi trophy when he was the OC. This is what he does. I don't care whether it's Matt Ryan at quarterback or Jimmy Garoppolo. For whatever reason, he can't take his own foot off the accelerator, and he's going to have to.
It's a big reason why I'm laying the points with the Packers.
Okay,
he's also the kind of guy that shifts Trent Williams in motion on a 4th-and-inch quarterback sneak where Garoppolo gets premature snapulation.
You're gonna keep hammering that one
over 1.5 on the premature.
There might be people that didn't listen to it 5 minutes ago. I had to hit it again.
We got the over on that
teaser time because we'll come back around soon enough. All right, real quickly, we're gonna have some touchdowns here. Jared, you bat lead off.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of the numbers here. I think Debo is probably the first guy. I know, but I mean,
that was gonna be mine.
He's got to be it. I would say Debo or Kittle. Punk. So fine, I'll take Kittle at plus 185. You can take Debo. I gave you the numbers on Kittle that the Packers struggle in the red zone against tight ends, 32nd in red zone success rate. So I'll take Kittle.
So we're still doing the deal where if the people we say, I know we try to give value.
Sure.
But if the people we say are correct and the people retweet our tweet, they still get the $100, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So in that case, I'm going Debo for the Niners minus 115. That guy is an absolute machine. I love him. And for the Packers, I'll take Devontae Adams minus 140. You know why? Because Devontae Adams scores a touchdown every game.
He does.
It's unbelievable how he somehow always gets open in the red zone, even though you know that's where Aaron Rodgers is looking. So they're the two highest odds on the board. So maybe not the best value, but I'm trying to get the people that retweet from @Pickswise account a free $100.
This week it's 50 because we're doing it Saturday.
Yeah, we're doing it twice. So that puts me in
an
an interesting
earlier,
spot
Jared?
because I thought for sure. Yeah, it's $50 Saturday.
I blacked out.
And $50 on Sunday. So we got Kittle, we got Debo, we got Devontae Adams. I've got a choice to make, either Aaron Jones or A.J. Dillon. I think I kind of like Dillon a little bit. Cold weather, battering ram. He's kind of the guy in the along the goal line for the Packers. So I'll give out Dillon, and I think we've got all of our bases covered. One of those guys is definitely scoring a touchdown on Saturday night. I promise.
All right, before we move on to Sunday's games, I will let you have a choice. Jared, you can have the choice for trivia. Quarterbacks or wide receivers?
Quarterbacks, always quarterbacks.
Tom Brady has the most touchdown passes in playoff history. Aaron Rodgers is tied for second with which quarterback?
Ooh.
Jared's going to try this first?
No, you can guess too.
Anyway.
It's open.
Is there a hint? Did I watch him?
No hint. Joe Montana.
Joe Montana is correct.
Good job, Ross. Way to bounce back.
That one, okay, so that one, I got to be honest with you, I saw that in the notes. I'm doing the Bucs-Rams game, so I read that in the notes this morning. So it's kind of like, I'll never lie to you guys. I feel like although I got to be honest, I skimmed the notes, so I saw that Brady, he has like twice as many as them, right, or something like that.
So Brady's got 85. Rodgers and Montana have 45.
That's unbelievable.
Right. I was 95% sure it was Montana because that jumped out to me.
I would have guessed John Elway, but
I'm impressed by I'm surprised Rodgers is the other one. I would have thought it was like Peyton Manning or someone that goes to more Super Bowls.
By the way, I'm very happy that you were honest with us because you could have played it off as, well, yeah, dude, I'm 1-1 on trivia.
He didn't celebrate as much as he normally does. That was his tell.
You should have recused yourself from the bench on this one because you knew the answer. You should have.
Yeah, I should have let Jared. That's why I let Jared have a chance first.
I would have guessed Elway, but I probably was way off.
Yeah, but that was wrong. All right, so let's move on to Sunday. Ross is going to be in Tampa, another warm weather city. Rematch of the Rams and Bucks, just like Niners-Packers. This game was played in week 3. It was out in L.A., and the Rams took care of business 34-24 in that one. That was a day where the quarterbacks combined for 775 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, 4 of which came from Matthew Stafford. And who was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' leading rusher that day? Tom Brady. If that happens again this week, it ain't going to be good for the Buccaneers. So, Ross, what do you have?
It's going to be an awesome game. At least I hope it's an awesome game. I thought there was a bunch of games last weekend that were going to be awesome, and they really weren't. It was kind of disappointing how many of those games were just unbelievable blowouts. That would really surprise me here. The Rams really got the better of the Cardinals on Monday night up front on both sides of the ball. Cardinals couldn't really run it a lick. Kyler Murray was under duress. The Rams ran it very effectively till the end of the game when the Cardinals knew they were just running the clock out. What they have, like 38 carries compared to 17 pass attempts for Stafford or something like that. It was like a Jimmy G type of game. It's kind of funny how like LaFleur, McVay, Shanahan, all like the young, offensive geniuses, they're not afraid to just run it. Like they're not afraid to be like, yeah, it's genius. If you can run it well, just run it. I like that about those guys. The thing about the Bucs is they're beat up, guys. I mean, I cannot believe they put Tristan Wirfs back in the game against the Eagles. He had 3 terrible plays where he probably made his ankle worse, almost got Brady hurt by having Ryan Kerrigan run right over him. The training staff and the team doctor for the Bucs, you got to be kidding me. You can do enough work on the sideline to know whether or not you should actually put the guys inside the white lines. Nobody, like you go inside the white lines, it's game on. You got to test that enough off the sidelines. You don't go out there and maybe hurt yourself or your quarterback. We know Brady in the playoffs. We know all that stuff. I feel like the Rams are healthier. I mean, they got Cam Akers back. I think Whitworth will be fine. Jensen was gimping around a little bit. I don't think Wirfs plays. We'll see. Maybe he gives it a go. Even Josh Wells, his backup, is dealing with a quad injury. Von Miller has been on fire. Even defensively, watching the tape, Shaq Barrett and Levante David played. They didn't look like Shaq Barrett and Levante David. I think the Bucs are just too beat up. I would take the points and the Rams.
I'll take it a step further. I think this is a money line play on the Rams as well. Matthew Stafford was flawless against the Cardinals. And I know the Cardinals defense hasn't been playing that well. The average depth of target was amongst his highest of the year. And he was great against the blitz. 7 of 9 for $148 against the blitz. What do the Bucs do more than any other team in the NFL? They blitz. And Stafford was really good against the blitz this season. 3rd in completion rate, 7th in yards per attempt. I don't know if Todd Bowles knows how to play another scheme defensively other than just blitz, but I think the Rams offense is going to have a lot of success moving the ball in this game. Another thing that was very fascinating about the Bucs defense on Sunday. So they faced Jalen Hurts, who obviously looked a little in over his head early in that game. I think he settled down a little bit in the second half, but Sean Murphy-Bunting was out with the hamstring injury. Check on his status this week. That's huge. Because of that, the Bucs played a season high 51 snaps with 3 safeties on the field. A lot of single high, and I just think Stafford is going to eat that up. He's going to see it in tape. McVay's going to see that in tape this week, and they are going to come up with a much more effective game plan to go after what is a very weak Bucs secondary. And I just love the way the Rams offense is playing. They're running the ball. They're passing the ball. Odell looks like he's in sync, and that offensive line depth for Tampa Bay, it all starts and ends with the offensive line. Ross knows that. And the Bucs defensive line, I know the Eagles D-line's great. The Rams D-line is better. And I just think this is a mismatch. I mean,
it's a great point. And they got 4 sacks on Brady last week. He only been sacked 23 times all season. And now you got Von Miller and Aaron Donald and those guys coming. It's a good point.
And Kerrigan hadn't played well at all, really, until, he really kind of came from out of nowhere. And had one of his best games of the year. Honestly, and I know that the Bucs deserve to be favored. They're the defending champs. It's Tom Brady. I don't love fading him in a playoff game. But in terms of the matchups in the trenches, the wrong team's favored in this game. The Rams are the better team in the trenches. And we'll see if Stafford can outplay Brady and can take advantage of some secondary deficiencies. But I love the Rams in this spot.
I think a lot of people are going to be on the Rams. I will warn everybody listening of this. Tom Brady is the master at MFing teams behind the scenes. Nobody, he hears it all. He knows that people are like, oh, he probably watched that game on Monday night and said, boy, this is exactly what we want. We want the Rams thinking they are the shit, man. Coming in here and there's all these fake celebrities that think they know somebody on the Rams other than Matthew Stafford and OBJ and Aaron Donald, and they couldn't tell you another Ram. But they were all at the game, and all of a sudden they're the hot thing in the NFL. But guess what? Jared Goff got them to this point too last year, and they ended up losing in Green Bay. Just saying.
No, here's the thing. Everything is pointing to the Rams.
Yeah, everything.
The quarterback for the Bucs is Tom Brady. The quarterback for the Rams is Matthew Stafford.
It's true. I'll add one more thing for the Bucs defense. They've actually faced the easiest schedule of offenses in the entire NFL this year. Their toughest quarterbacks they faced Dak in week 1, gave up 30+. They faced Stafford, we mentioned it, 30+. They gave up 30+ to Josh Allen. Or not 30+, I think 27. So I don't know if their defense is really equipped right now at the current form against this offense. The Hurts-Sirianni combo did nothing on Sunday. And I think they're going to see a much more effective and efficient passing game and running game on Sunday. You're 100% right, though, Chris. It doesn't sit right with me to fade Tom Brady in this spot at basically a field goal. And I think this line gets to less than a field goal. I think the Rams will get bought down to 2.5. And I think you'll see a lot of Bucs money come in on Sunday. Tom Brady under a field goal. How can he not win? That'll probably be the narrative on Sunday.
All right, let's get to some other numbers here. Tom Brady, he's won 9 straight divisional round games. If you were keeping score, yeah, God, that's crazy. It's a pretty good stat for him.
That is crazy.
How about numbers? What do we expect out of him, just individually, Ross?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think Brady is going to get rid of the ball very quickly.
Yeah.
His over-under number is 286.5 passing yards. That seems high until you consider what he did back in week, whatever that was. What week was it, Chris?
3.
4, 3.
Yeah, week 3. I would take the over because I don't think they're going to be able to run on it very well against the Rams. I think it's going to have to be Brady, dink, and dunk city and throwing the ball over the place. So I think I'd go over because either they win and they go over or they lose and he goes over like he did out in L.A.
Yeah.
How about Gronk, Jared? He's had some touchdowns and not a ton of yards lately. Had that big one in the last week, but that was about it.
Yeah, and I think game script, again, dictates over because I think the Rams will be in front here. And I think the Bucs are gonna just give up on their running game, but I think Ross is right about the dink and dunk city. I mean, that's why I would lean Brady to the under and I would lean Gronk to the under. But game script denotes over, so probably a tough sell. But I would lean under on Gronk.
All right, Jared. Quickly, I'll give you the other quarterback, Matthew Stafford. How big a day does he have?
Over. He's the guy. And I think the average depth of target last week against the Cardinals shows me that he is not afraid to push the ball down the field. And I think he's got a really, really good matchup against this Bucs secondary. How do they attack the single high? How do they attack the 3 safety look? But I think Stafford's going to have a big day. Over.
And Ross, finally, OBJ coming off his probably most complete performance as a Ram. Huge day yardage-wise or no?
I don't think it's a huge day. I do think he's got a pretty decent chance to go over 45.5 yards, which is his receiving yardage prop. That's not very high. I mean, that could be 3 catches really. And, we saw this a little bit on Monday night. I heard Sean McVay say at halftime when Lisa Salters asked him, I was like leaning my ear in there. That's what you do when you're the radio sideline person. You don't actually get to ask the questions. You just get to be there and like stick your ear in, kind of like a weirdo.
Move, Tucker.
And I heard him. She asked him what was going on with Cooper Kupp because I think he had like 1 catch for nothing in the first half. He's like, team game, we'll get him going, but we're, they're dictating where the ball goes. They're rolling coverage to him. It's why we're able to get other guys going. Cooper Kupp dictates a lot of coverage. I think Odell Beckham Jr. goes over the 45.5.
Van Jefferson too is a name to keep an eye on, I think.
Who's that, you say?
Van Jefferson's another name in that same vein.
All right, quickly, who's scoring? Jared, you get to go first.
Yeah, Higbee's been kind of the guy for the Rams, I think, in the red zone. I think that's the name that I would give you value-wise, plus 230. So I'll give you Tyler Higbee for the Rams.
For the Bucs, I'm going to go Gronk. It's still plus money. It's still plus 100. You know what he does? He scores touchdowns. Second most receiving touchdowns in the playoffs of any guy ever. Jared, who's number 1?
I don't know.
This is one you should know.
Wait, who's the receiving Jerry Rice?
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go, Jared. Nice.
Thanks for playing.
In that vein, I'm not comparing Mike Evans to Jerry Rice, but I think Mike Evans is the Jerry Rice of the Bucs this year, right? The most reliable receiver on their team. He's the healthiest, certainly. Minus 125, a little juicy there. I probably wouldn't bet this on my own, but in terms of the giveaway and getting someone into the end zone and getting someone a free 50 bones, I think Mike Evans probably has the best chance to score for Tampa Bay this week.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Oh, boy.
Plus 850.
Oh, my God.
Matthew Stafford.
Stop it.
Matthew Stafford. Oh. quarterback sneaks. He had one last week.
Yeah, he did.
And he actually scrambled once or twice in that game.
He's like a statue, though. I mean, that he
Yeah,
wasn't that his like
quarterback sneaks
wasn't
are
that
like
his first
this.
touchdown like ever in his like whole rushing
He's a
career.
statue plus 850. He's got slightly worse odds than Ben Skoranek. The Rams defense and special teams, Bucks defense. I'm going Matthew Stafford plus 850 on a long shot. I like to give out a long shot every once in a while.
That's fair. We gave out some minus money, so you can give out a little sprinkle there on Stafford.
It is trivia time.
Woo!
Rams 2-0 all time in the playoffs against the Bucks, but in those 2 games they have only scored 1 touchdown. Who's it belong to?
Oh man.
Now, I do know this one, and I did not see it in the notes, but I'll let Jared go first, but he's got no prayer.
No chance.
Prayer.
I mean, it wasn't the Rams, greatest show on turf team, obviously, right? Oh, wait, no. I know this. No, I remember this game. It was the NFC Championship game. It was Ricky Prohl. Boom.
There you
boom,
go.
Boom. Boom.
Very nice.
Let's go. I remember, you know why I remember that? Because everyone talked about how great their offense was, and it was like a 15-6 game.
11-6.
Weird score, yeah.
You know what that game's known for, Jared?
No idea. No idea.
Chris.
Does the name Bert Emanuel ring a
The
bell?
Bert Emanuel game literally changed. The NFL changed the catch rules after the game as a result.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I'll just throw this out at you. So the first time they played was also in the NFC Championship, Ross. Who scored all the points for the Rams that game? Do you remember? You're not old enough to know this one.
I was born in 79. That's the year, right?
Yeah. You're not going to remember the Rams kicker from back then.
Oh, no, definitely
It was
not.
at the old sombrero.
The old sombrero.
Frank Corral was the kicker. I think he was a barefooted kicker, if I'm not mistaken.
Frank Golden Corral at the old sombrero. That's amazing.
All right, let's move on to the last of the 4 divisional round games, and it is going to be a blast. Last year, AFC Championship game out at Arrowhead, the Chiefs took care of business, but then this year in Week 5, boy, did Buffalo take it to them. 38-20 in that game. Josh Allen was a monster, threw for more than 303 scores. He ran for another. Kansas City had 4 turnovers. Worst home loss of Patrick Mahomes' career, doled out by the Bills and Josh Allen. So it's really their 3rd meeting in the last year that is of big-time importance. Ross, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I think it's the game of the weekend. I think it's going to be incredible. I think the winner of this game is going to the Super Bowl. Sorry, Titans fans. You guys are already mad at me for other stuff, so who cares? Man, I've gone back and forth on this one. The Bills just looked so good against the Patriots. Not that the Chiefs didn't against the Steelers, but the Bills threw a perfect game. The thing is, though, Arrowhead is a tough place to play. It's different in the playoffs than it was in the regular season. I think the biggest difference in this game is that the Chiefs' defense is playing much better than it was back in Week 5.
Mm-hmm.
Much better. I'll tell you what I like in this game. I kind of like the under. Right now, it's 54.5. I think the Bills and Chiefs defenses are better than people give it credit for. I think that number is a recency bias from what we just saw in the wild card round from both these teams' offenses, but their defenses are pretty darn good too. They have top 5 defenses in my mind right now. Jared has the stats. He'll give you stats. I don't care. I'm going by what I see, and I think their top 5 defense kind of like the under. And I don't know, if you're laying a 1.5, 2 points, I guess I'd just take whoever thinks going to win the game. I'll take the Chiefs, I guess. My heart says Buffalo, my favorite team I played for out of the 5, but my brain says tough to beat a team twice, tough to beat Kansas City twice in Kansas City. I'll take the Chiefs.
Best game of the week, no doubt, matchup-wise, going to be the highest handle game of the week. But I think it offers the least amount of betting value just because I think the spread is spot on. The last time these two teams faced each other, it was Buffalo +3, and the sports books took a ton of professional money on the Bills. We were both, Ross and I, on the Bills that week, I remember. And the sports books learned their lesson. They could have posted this game at 3, but they opened 2.5, and you're seeing it still bet down to now 1.5 in some spots. I wouldn't be shocked if this closed at a pick 'em. Ross is onto something about the total. The total is getting jacked up way too high now, over to 55. I'm even seeing now after opening 53. And I can see the Bills, who play this unique secondary where they have a lot of 5, nickel, 5 defensive backs on the field a lot, trying to mask some of their deficiencies with Tre'Davious White being out. I can see them trying to keep everything in front. That's been the strategy against this Chiefs offense. Keep everything in front of you, make them think and dunk, make Patrick Mahomes make that red zone mistake, which he made against the Steelers and he's made against countless other teams this season. But the Chiefs defense, so Ross is right. They've allowed just 16.2 points per game over their last 11. But how about the quarterbacks they faced in that stretch? And let's do the discrepancy with the points. So Burrow, they gave up 34 points. Herbert, they gave up 28. The other games where they didn't give up a ton of points, Daniel Jones, Jordan Love, Derek Carr ×2, Dak Prescott without Cooper and Lamb, Teddy Bridgewater, Big Ben ×2, and Drew Lock. Not a ton of explosion there. So I'm curious what the Buffalo offense does against a Chiefs defense that is much better since they last played each other in week 5. What's the game plan this time? Because the Bills were on fire. 59% success rate in early down passes in that first matchup against the Chiefs. 55% success rate overall on passing plays. Can the Chiefs defense bow up a little bit? If so, this is a stone cold under game for sure, because that number is way too high. Dawson Knox had a field day in that first game. We love Dawson Knox. I know that's going to be one of the big touchdown prop bets we probably give out. And Mahomes threw 2 picks in that game. Can he clean that up? Can he clean up the turnovers that have plagued him through this season and pitch a perfect game like the Bills did last week, or at least a near perfect game? Tough one to call. I think this is a no play for me. I think this line is spot on. I'm just excited to sit back and watch this game because it is going to be fun.
Josh Allen's taking his game to a different stratosphere, boys.
Incredible.
He's running the ball great. He's throwing it great. Bills actually are running the ball well, utilizing their running backs, which has been kind of interesting as well. All right. How about touchdown time? Let's see here. Who's up first this time? Is it Ross? Is it Jared?
Well, Jared just talked for a while, so I let him get a little breather. And I'll go, and I'll tell you guys a joke. You know how Josh Allen knows who to throw the ball to when they get in the red zone?
No. Tell me.
Do you know who Josh Allen knows who to throw the ball to? No, let me say it again. How does Josh Allen know who to throw the ball to when the Bills get in the red zone?
It's a play on words with Dawson Knox in some capacity.
Because Dawson Knox.
That was so bad.
God. That was so terrible. Doesn't even qualify as a dad joke.
Anyway,
where's the punchline? I'm still waiting for it.
The punchline is when they get in the red zone, Dawson Knox.
It would have been better if you said opportunity Knox in the red zone. That would have been better, I think.
I like that one.
Captain,
Anyway,
Ross.
Dawson Knox plus 200 is the moral of the story. He's a touchdown maker. He scores touchdowns when Josh Allen's just trying to throw the ball away. Dawson Knox.
I'm in the Josh Allen boat. I gave out the rushing prop last week, and it didn't hit because they put Trubisky on the field for those last 2 kneel downs, or else it would have hit because rushing props or attempts props, they count for the kneel downs. But I think Josh Allen finds the end zone here. He had 11 for 59 and a touchdown the last time these two teams played. The handicap is always the bigger, more higher profile games. That is when Josh Allen uses his legs to be most effective. I do not expect the Bills to be up 30 and for there not to be some rushing attempts in this game late for Josh Allen. You could tell later in that game they were just kind of handing it off and running the quick stuff to kind of run the clock. But I think the rushing attempts and the rushing touchdown for Josh Allen very much on the table this week.
So for the Chiefs, I think this guy's actually going to be a reason why they win the game.
I know who you're going to say.
He's minus 110. Jerick McKinnon.
Love it.
Jerick McKinnon. I mean, only the Chiefs, first of all, their like 5th string running back is their best one. And only the Chiefs. Their healthiest running back in mid-January is Jerick McKinnon. This is the first time since he was 8 years old he's been healthy at this stage of the season. It's unbelievable. I'm thrilled for him. I hope he balls out. He gives them some juice out of the backfield. McKinnon, touchdown, -110.
By the way, Jerick McKinnon was not healthy his 8-year-old year. I had him on my fantasy team that year. The kid's under 10. It was his, when he was 9. That's the year he was healthy. Okay, go ahead, Jared.
Travis Kelce, -120. I think I wouldn't bet it at that price because I don't like betting minus money touchdown props. But for the sake of the contest, for the sake of someone getting free money, I think Travis Kelce is the most utilized red zone weapon. I think he'll have a good game.
By the way, before we move off of the whole Kelce thing, there was a great story about the Kelce's mom. I think her name's Donna. Started the day in Tampa to watch her all-pro center son, Jason, lace it up against the champs. Then she got on a flight and flew to Tampa and watched her Pro Bowl tight end, Travis, take care of business against the Steelers that night. Great story, except she had to fly commercial. These guys, shouldn't they have gotten her a private jet? Am I off
first class? I hope she flew first class.
How did she make it in time?
Yeah.
She made it with like an hour to spare. She
left at halftime or something.
Yeah, no way.
She said she kept updating everybody on social media on her trip, and she had like a picture on the plane, and then she's like, "I'm in the Uber now on my way to Arrowhead." Like, wait a second.
At least they got the time difference, right? You get an hour back in Kansas City, right?
But seriously, you guys, that's your mom. Get her a private jet and a car.
Agree.
Am I missing something?
No, you're not. Absolutely not.
Ross?
Maybe she's not into that.
She should have been on that day. Come on, Ma, you earned that.
Yeah, I agree.
2 Pro Bowl NFL players. Yeah, I think she's earned a private jet.
Those guys, and I will say this though, those guys are very blue collar. Very blue collar.
They're Cleveland tough, just like me, man.
Yeah, I don't know how they spend their money. They probably don't do anything fancy like that.
Let's see here. What do I have for you guys? Okay, Patrick Mahomes needs 2 touchdowns to have the most in his first 10 playoff games. Which 2 quarterbacks currently share that record? Most touchdown passes in their first 10 playoff games.
Aaron Rodgers.
Well, there's 2 quarterbacks, so unless you're saying Aaron and Rodgers, that's only one, but it's not right.
That's my first guess, and it's wrong.
It's
anyway,
not right.
So I'll defer to
the
trivia master here. Although I am even this week, 1-1.
The number was 23. That's how many touchdowns they each threw in their first 10 playoff games.
Peyton Manning?
Wow.
Montana?
No.
Elway?
No.
Hints.
Yeah, we need hints here.
You can still see them
Troy Aikman.
On your football weekends.
Troy Aikman.
No.
What?
Yeah, he never threw touchdowns. Go check out his stats.
Yeah, you're right. But that I thought, I can't think of many other
guys who really
Drew Brees. Drew
Brees is one.
All right.
And?
Terry Bradshaw?
No.
Trying to think of quarterbacks on TV.
Yeah. He's in Rose's cell phone.
Kurt Warner.
That's a guy.
Kurt Warner is correct.
I can't believe I didn't get that one. That was pathetic.
All right, before we get out of here, what time is it?
Teaser time.
Okay, Ross, since you like this part of the show so much.
Yeah, so this worked out beautifully because last week I teased the Bucs from -8.5 down to -2.5. An open-ended teaser. If you're able to actually do that some places, not many, but you can shop around. Now I pair it with the Bills, who are currently +2, tease them up to +8. Bang. That's how you do that. Dang.
We're going to have some fun this week. I don't see a traditional teaser that I like. Last week I did a 4-team, 13-point mega tease. You're laying minus 140. I know Ross loves these mega teasers. Here we go. Titans plus 9.5. Packers plus 7. Rams plus 16. And over 41.5. Bills and Chiefs. 2 disclaimers. 1, this teaser is a stupid bet. It's a fun, entertaining bet. It's not meant to be an investment. Shove all your chips into the middle. It's one play on all 4 games, and you've got a ton of wiggle room on both sides because of the mega 13-point teaser. See if we can go 2-0. Hit one last week. Try to hit one this week. I didn't give it out last week. I was too embarrassed. But
Ross's head just exploded. So
yeah, I mean, there's so much there. I don't know.
Have some fun. It's divisional weekend.
Why not? By the
Have
way,
a little fun.
If you're at the Bucs-Rams game this Sunday and you see the big boy wandering around on the field ahead of time, just yell out to him, "Teaser time!"
Teaser time.
Let's see how he does. All right, this is going to be a great week. Thank you. You don't have to tell me that, ma'am. She's talking to me, my watch.
Siri saying hello.
So, Ross, have a great time down in Tampa and enjoy it. And then we'll see everybody again next week. And I can't wait to see how that entertaining teaser plays out for you, Jared.
The mega teaser.
That'll be good. So once again, for Ross Tucker and for Jared Smith, I am Chris Rose. We will see you for Championship Week here on Pickswise Playbook. I'm Chris Rose. Now, go
win some dough.
See you next time.